Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel, tap the notification bell, and like this video. It helps me keep making videos, and I would appreciate it majorly. Okay, so, I saw this article, looks interesting, about Omar Barghouti. Omar Barghouti. So that, and he's the co-founder of the BDS movement, Boycott, Divest, and Sanctions movement. That is, I think, is growing. I don't think it's gotten huge or anything like that, but it is growing, and it's gaining more and more attention. In fact, it's things like this that actually, make movements like this continue to kind of grow, because he was denied entry to the United States. He was coming to speak at two different universities, Harvard, New York University, as well as speak in Washington, D.C., and, according to this Fox News article, attend his daughter's wedding. I guess his daughter is a U.S. resident or citizen, maybe, I really don't know. He is a Palestinian, and he's one of the co-founders of the BDS movement. Never even seen this guy before, or heard him. I had to look him up to just at least listen to him speak, and form a small opinion about him in 5 minutes after watching an interview over at The Guardian talking about the BDS movement. So before I did, though, naturally I checked out some of the news, and it's a very touchy subject, and this, all four of the Twitter posts here in the Google News feed on the story, they're basically all pro-Israeli. They're all Jewish persons that are commenting on it, and most of them, Lee Zeldin, who I think is a congressman from New York, who I generally have a favorable opinion for. However, I do think that he's way too quick to just label things as anti-Semitic. He's come out extremely vocal against Ilhan Omar, and I'm not here to necessarily defend Ilhan Omar, but I am here to defend the idea that I think it's pretty absurd. You have one woman who wears a hijab, who's Muslim, who doesn't feel the need to bow down before the rest of Congress. It's just one, and then there's another woman that's a Palestinian, and there's plenty of Jewish congresspersons, okay? There's a lot more than one or two, and I just think it's unfair, when people just are so outraged by one woman in a hijab, even if she didn't choose her words so well when talking about 9/11, I'm not here to talk about that, but I'm just saying, Lee Zeldin seems very eager or very quick to basically label anything anti-Semitic if it's just if it at all criticizes Israel. I generally don't like the whole. I don't like the whole Zionism, anti-Zionism discussion. I think it's a big waste of time. But I do think that Israel is majorly unfair to its neighbor, particularly Palestine, which is pretty much completely defenseless, including Hamas. Hamas is almost no military threat to Israel, and the Palestinian people are just none. There's no threat whatsoever. Israel has one of the mightiest, most technologically advanced, and they're just tough. The Israelis fighters. They're just one of the toughest military forces on the planet, and the Palestinians are just poor as can be, and they have nothing. They fight with like little kites, which are a joke. It's and other stuff. I understand Hamas has missiles and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter. It's so one-sided. It's silliness. So basically, listening to this guy's interview here, he made many very good points. He just did. He didn't seem like a radical extremist to me at all. And I think it's a big mistake to not let him at least come. And I mean, what are you so afraid of? What is he going to say if his ideas are so bad and radical and hateful? Then people will reject him, But he didn't sound that way in this. In fact, he was basically just saying that the entire movement. I didn't even know anything about it. He just described it to me. He's saying that the entire movement is a way to basically circumvent the countries of the world, because essentially the countries of the world, and we're one of the major ones in the United Kingdom, but they're not doing anything to help the Palestinian people. Things just keep getting worse and worse. And I tend to agree. I mean, it's almost getting to the point, and Trump's terrible with this, in terms of just saying that the Golan Heights should, saying that it's now part of Israel, basically, and unilaterally saying things like that. Bibi Netanyahu in days leading up to the election, in order to, to help push him over the edge. And I think he's winning. He won just fine. But saying some of the settlements that they were going to make those permanent or annex them and stuff like that. And it's basically, like Israel's just doing whatever it wants. And it's just not fair. It just isn't, and it's just plain as day. And so, for somebody to speak up and say that it's not fair, I don't think that's anti-Semitic. And what he's saying is that the governments of the world are not doing anything about it. In fact, they're in many cases, they're at least complicit and sometimes supporting it, even though they're not, explicitly saying they support it, but through their support financially, militarily. I mean, Israel and the United States are so close in everything, and other major countries, Western countries, have close ties to Israel as well. Believe me, I'm usually pro-Israel, but I'm telling you right now, I've always thought it's plain as day. It's obvious as can be, is that they're way too heavy-handed and frankly unfair with their neighbors, in particular the Palestinians. So, but listening to this individual talk, and he sounded pretty reasonable to me. So when I see Lee Zeldin's tweet about him, and maybe there's a lot more to this individual that I haven't heard or seen, but he just flat out calls him all sorts of terrible things, And I actually generally have a fairly favorite, because he's a Republican. I'm a Republican. He's pro-Trump. There's a lot of things I like about Trump. I've soured a little bit recently and getting a little sick of it. He's getting too powerful. Trump is. He is. That's just never a good thing when one person has too much power, and it's happening. Totally. Everyone's petrified of him, for Christ's sake. It's terrible. They're all, everyone. None of them. There's not a single Republican that will stand up to him. It's not a good thing. So, but this foreigner is filled with anti-Israel and anti-Semitic hatred. We should reject Omar Barghouti's hate, reject the BDS movement, and reject his many examples of blatant anti-Semitism. That's Lee Zeldin. They all, obviously are against it. The Boycott, Divest, and Sanction movement. I'm never a big fan of boycotting, but let the guy come and speak. And like I said, if his ideas are so bad, people will reject them. I mean, what are we afraid of? So, Omar Barghouti was traveling to the United States for a speaking tour, the group said in a statement, when he was told by airline staff at Israel's Ben Gurion airport that his visa was revoked for immigration reasons, and he wasn't allowed to board his flight. The U.S. entry ban against me, which is ideologically and politically motivated as part of Israel's escalating repression against Palestinian, Israel, and international human rights defenders in the BDS movement for freedom, justice, and equality, he said. Here's the BDS movement's Twitter page. They only have 133,000 followers right now, So, but it does seem to be getting a little bit bigger. For starters, I think they were trying to pass a law to make this basically illegal or something like that. I mean, I just don't understand how that's even possible. So you can make it illegal for somebody to basically I'm not sure. I think that was being sort of circulated in Congress. Israel is not merely continuing its decade-old system of military occupation, apartheid, and ethnic cleansing. It is increasingly outsourcing its outrageous McCarthyite repression to the United States and xenophobic far-right cohorts across the world. The BDS movement has picked up worldwide traction among the international anti-Israel left, including in America, and it advocates boycotts, divestment, and sanctions against Israel businesses, universities, and cultural institutions. Barghouti's apparent ban comes as Republicans in Congress are accusing Democrats of allowing anti-Semitism to infect their party and are seeking to pass legislation to allow states to penalize the movement. The Hill reported that the House GOP lawmakers are launching a discharge petition to force a vote on the Senate bill. Democrats have battled accusations of anti-Semitism, but that's what I was referring to, like where they're actually trying to pass a law to make it almost, in an indirect way, make it illegal for people to what? I don't know exactly. Get petitions started to get the movement going or what? I really don't know. It's not real clear. So Democrats have battled accusations of anti-Semitism. A controversy blew up in March when Rep. Ilhan Omar, Democrat, Minnesota, suggested that supporters of Israel were pushing for U.S. politicians to declare allegiance to that nation. I want to talk about the political influence in this country that says it's okay for people to push for allegiance to a foreign country, Omar said. Well, that's pretty much the story there. It's an interesting story, and you know, that's the story there. All right, thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.